Hello, and welcome to the Sleepy Brain Facts channel. Tonight, you embark on a journey into the enchanting, often overlooked world of flowers. While they are celebrated for their beauty and fragrance, the true story of flowers goes much deeper than mere appearance. Each bloom represents thousands of years of evolution. What seems delicate often conceals remarkable strength, and what appears simple is built on an intelligence that enables flowers to sense their surroundings and adapt in ways you might never imagine. Flowers possess the ability to influence the behavior of insects. They can shift their chemistry to protect themselves or to attract a partner at precisely the right moment. They regulate their temperature, manage air movement, and adjust to light with impressive precision. These hidden abilities shape the world around us in extraordinary ways. If you find joy in these tranquil explorations, I encourage you to like, subscribe, or share your thoughts below. Your engagement helps others discover this space, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is rest. Allow your body to soften and your mind to relax, letting nature's beauty guide you gently to sleep. Let's begin. Some flowers can even hear the buzz of bees. In certain blossoms, the petals serve as tiny acoustic dishes. When a bee approaches, the vibrations from its wings ripple through the flower, causing the petals to tremble at just the right frequency. This trembling is not mere motion, it's a strategic response. Within moments, the plant can increase the sugar content of its nectar, enriching the reward at the perfect time for a pollinator's visit. Remarkably, the flower doesn't require ears or a brain. Its tissues are finely tuned to specific vibrations in the air, allowing it to differentiate the low hum of a bee from the random rustle of the wind. This sensitivity provides the plant with a significant advantage. Instead of consistently investing energy in sweet nectar, it can deliver the most enticing reward precisely when it is most likely to be collected and carried away. In some of the driest landscapes on Earth, a few desert flowers bloom only after rare rains. These flowers follow a very different calendar. Their seeds lie dormant in the hot, silent soil, sometimes waiting years for the right moment. Rather than struggling to grow during harsh droughts, they remain patiently inactive, packed with the information they need to thrive when conditions finally become favorable. When a rare storm finally arrives, moisture seeps deep into the ground, igniting a series of chemical reactions within the seeds. Signals awaken, indicating that conditions have shifted from perilous to just barely possible. Germination unfolds simultaneously across vast landscapes. Stems push through the soil, buds form, and fields that once appeared barren burst into vibrant life. Each plant races through its entire life cycle in a fleeting moment, striving to produce new seeds before the land dries once more. Eventually, the flowers fade away, leaving behind yet another generation hidden beneath the sand, patiently awaiting the next unlikely rainfall. In the high mountains, some alpine flowers have discovered an extraordinary way to survive the harsh conditions. Here, the cold air and thin atmosphere pose challenges for delicate tissues. Yet, these resilient blossoms have developed a remarkable adaptation. Their central structures can elevate their temperature above that of the surrounding air, transforming each flower into a tiny haven of warmth. While this heat may not be noticeable from a distance, for an insect landing on the bloom, it can mean the difference between sluggish movement and lively activity. This warmer interior also ensures that pollen develops properly in an environment where frost can strike unexpectedly, even under bright sunshine. To create warmth, the plant boosts its metabolic activity in specific tissues, using stored energy more rapidly than usual. This results in a gentle microclimate crafted by overlapping petals. This clever strategy allows the flower to attract cold-stressed pollinators while simultaneously protecting its reproductive cells. Imagine it as a quiet thermal engineering project unfolding in the snow. Some flowers change color to communicate with pollinators. For certain blossoms, their color isn't static. It acts as a living message that evolves over time. When a flower first opens, its petals may display a bright, inviting hue that stands out against the leaves and soil. This vibrant stage often coincides with a plentiful supply of nectar and fresh pollen. However, after numerous visits from pollinators, something significant occurs. The pigments within the petals shift, and the blossom may take on a duller or entirely different color. To our eyes, it may seem simply older. Yet, to a bee or butterfly that has learned which colors yield the best rewards, this change is a clear signal to move on and seek out younger blooms. This color transformation benefits both the flowers and the pollinators, allowing them to conserve time and energy. The plant minimizes unnecessary damage to its pollen and petals once reproduction begins. Each bloom transforms into its own signpost, conveying its status through chemical signals. Some flowers display ultraviolet patterns, serving as hidden guides. Our human eyes fail to capture the full story of a garden. Many petals bear markings invisible to us, yet they shine like landing lights in ultraviolet light. Bees and other pollinators can easily perceive these wavelengths. What appears as a simple yellow or white flower to you may look like a vividly marked target to them. These ultraviolet markings often take the form of rings, stripes, or arrows that point directly toward the blossom's center, where nectar and pollen are stored. This guidance system enhances the efficiency of each visit. Insects no longer have to search blindly. They can instantly read the pattern and navigate along an ideal path. Simultaneously, the plant boosts the likelihood that pollen will brush against the right parts of the insect's body. The outcome is a subtle visual conversation unfolding in a spectrum that humans rarely notice. Layered over familiar colors, some flowers even emit scents reminiscent of rotting meat to attract flies. Isn't it fascinating how nature communicates in ways we often overlook? Not every flower seeks to be sweet. Some plants attract creatures that are drawn to decay rather than fragrance. They adopt a unique strategy. Their blossoms emit complex blends of chemicals that mimic the scent of a carcass left in the sun. The petals may even take on colors and textures that disturbingly resemble flesh. For a fly or beetle that specializes in locating dead animals, this combination is simply irresistible. The insect lands expecting food or a place to lay eggs, only to find chambers filled with pollen and at times temporary traps that keep it inside for a little while. During its attempts to escape, pollen grains cling to its body in just the right places. When the insect finally leaves and visits another similar flower, the deception continues. What might seem repulsive to us is merely another form of precise attraction in the plant kingdom. Some orchids go even further, mimicking female insects to entice males into pollinating them. Among the most intricate floral illusions are orchids that shape their petals and scents to resemble the bodies and mating signals of female insects. Isn't it fascinating how nature plays such elaborate tricks? Imagine a flower that closely resembles a male wasp or bee. This resemblance is so striking that it tries to court or even mate with the flower itself. In this moment of confusion, the insect brushes against specific structures that attach pollen to its body. The orchid cleverly mimics the texture and tiny hair patterns of its target species, releasing chemical signals that smell like a potential mate. When the bewildered insect flies off, it unwittingly transfers pollen to another blossom of the same orchid species, ensuring reliable pollination without offering any nectar in return. The insect walks away with nothing but an oddly convincing illusion. Some flowers possess an extraordinary ability to track the hours of daylight with remarkable precision. These plants measure time in ways that do not depend on clocks. Certain blossoms use this internal sense to determine precisely when to open and close. Deep within their cells, intricate networks of genes and proteins create a biological rhythm that responds to light and darkness. As the seasons change, the plant notices even the slightest shifts in daylight, adapting in harmony with the world around it. Take a moment to reflect on this intricate dance between nature and time. Isn't it fascinating how life unfolds in such unexpected ways? If you'd like to explore more or simply pause to absorb this beauty, feel free to continue or take a moment to rest. Flowers bloom in response to the length of the day, whether it's growing long or short. Some open their petals at specific times, regardless of cloudy skies. This timing is purposeful, often aligning with the schedules of their primary pollinators or moments when conditions are most favorable. By synchronizing their flowering with precise measures of daylight, these plants minimize wasted energy and coordinate their reproductive cycles with the natural rhythms of their environment, quietly tracking time through chemical processes. Certain flowers employ clever strategies to ensure pollination. For some, a brief visit isn't sufficient. Their blossoms function as temporary holding chambers, gently capturing specific insects to guarantee that pollen transfer occurs. A fly or beetle is drawn in by enticing scents or vibrant colors, only to find that the exit routes have become narrow or blocked. Slippery surfaces, inward-facing hairs, or shifting petals complicate their escape. Within these chambers, the walls are adorned with reproductive structures designed to brush against the visitors as they struggle to find a way out. As time passes, certain flowers undergo a transformation. The pollen matures and the stigmas become receptive. In this moment, parts of the flower relax or shift, creating an opening for insects to depart. When these insects venture into another bloom of the same species, the cycle begins anew. Although the insect may face a brief inconvenience, the flower benefits greatly. It significantly increases the likelihood that its pollen will be accurately delivered. Some flowers have a unique way of releasing their pollen. Instead of drifting gently on the wind, certain blossoms release their pollen in tiny explosive bursts. Picture this: some flowers store their grains under tension, much like a bow pulled tight, waiting for the right moment to snap. When the appropriate trigger arrives, often a specific vibration or a gentle touch from a visiting insect, the structure releases suddenly. Pollen bursts forth in a brief cloud, showering the pollinator or dispersing into the air with remarkable force, far surpassing the gentle release of pollen that drifts on the breeze. In various species, specialized anthers twist or coil as they dry, springing open when conditions are just right. This clever method allows the plant to control precisely when its pollen is released. Instead of losing grains gradually to the wind or random movements, it delivers them in concentrated bursts that align with actual visits from pollinators. This intricate dance between flowers and insects showcases the beauty of nature's design. Imagine a strategy that harnesses stored mechanical energy to enhance efficiency, transforming a quiet flower into a precise launcher. Some aquatic flowers possess the remarkable ability to warm themselves, functioning like small furnaces. Tyives. A select few of these plants generate gentle heat within their blossoms, even while floating in chilly water. These flowers contain specialized tissues that amplify metabolic reactions in specific areas. This process releases warmth that rises just enough to alter the tiny environment surrounding the bloom. This warmth plays a crucial role in dispersing scent across still ponds and marshes. Warmer air currents carry fragrances that would otherwise remain close to the surface, making them more accessible to pollinators. As the temperature rises, it encourages sluggish pollinators, which might hesitate in cooler conditions, to land and become more active within the flower. Although the temperature difference may be subtle, it can significantly influence insect behavior and the development of pollen. By creating a stable pocket of warmth, these plants establish a controlled space in an unpredictable habitat. This serves as a quiet yet powerful example of biological engineering, allowing a delicate flower to thrive in an environment where cold water can hinder nearly every other process. Imagine a world where flowers communicate silently, sharing messages through the air. When they bloom or face stress, they release tiny chemical signals that drift on the breeze. Nearby flowers of the same kind can sense these signals, responding to changes in their environment. For instance, if one flower encounters sudden shade or increased humidity, it may emit a faint scent. This chemical cue allows neighboring flowers to adjust their timing or scent output before the conditions affect them directly. Although this exchange is not spoken, it enables these plants to act in harmony, reducing waste and enhancing the chances of attracting pollinators when their nectar is at its sweetest. This subtle dialogue transforms a group of flowers into a responsive network. It reveals that even rooted plants can share information in remarkably adaptive ways. Some flowers only open at night, relying on moonlit pollinators, while others remain tightly shut during the day and bloom only when darkness falls. Take a moment to reflect on this hidden world of communication. It invites you to consider the intricate connections that exist all around us. If you wish, you can continue exploring or simply take a moment to rest. The pale petals of these flowers shimmer softly under the moonlight, drawing the attention of moths and other creatures that come alive at night. Rather than flaunting vibrant colors in daylight, they release powerful drifting scents that travel through the cool evening air. As night falls, their nectar becomes more concentrated, offering a rich reward to those few visitors who rely on touch, smell, and dim reflections to find their way. The timing of this bloom is remarkably precise. Many flowers open shortly after dusk and close again before dawn, protecting their delicate tissues from the heat of the day, while conserving energy for the hours when their preferred pollinators are most active. This nocturnal rhythm allows them to flourish in environments teeming with competition during the day. By embracing the stillness and calm of the night, they create a unique ecological niche. Some flowers even exhibit subtle movements to engage their pollinators. They don't merely wait for contact. Their internal structures respond to visiting insects, bending or tilting in a way that ensures pollen adheres to just the right spot. As you observe these fascinating adaptations, you might find yourself reflecting on the delicate balance of life in the shadows. This gentle interplay between flowers and their nighttime visitors invites you to appreciate the beauty of nature's quieter moments. Would you like to learn more about these enchanting night blooms, or perhaps take a moment to rest in their presence? These movements may seem subtle, easily overlooked in the hustle of life. Yet, when a flower senses pressure or vibration, it responds swiftly. A stamen might swing inward, while a petal gently presses against a visitor's body. A hidden lever-like structure can release tension, altering the flower's shape. This remarkable mechanical response enhances the accuracy of pollen transfer and minimizes the loss of grains to the air. It also deters nectar thieves, ensuring they contribute to the plant's reproduction before making their escape. The flower behaves much like a miniature machine, with components that activate under specific conditions. This intricate blend of structure and motion creates a delicate choreography between the plant and its pollinator. In tropical regions, some flowers grow directly from tree trunks. In dense forests where sunlight struggles to reach the ground, these species employ a strategy known as trunk flowering. Rather than reaching for the bright canopy light, their blossoms emerge along the bark of thick tree trunks and major branches. This positioning brings flowers directly into the paths of animals that climb or traverse the trees. Fruit bats, beetles, and small mammals often pass within mere centimeters of these unusual blooms, making trunk flowering an effective way to attract attention in a crowded habitat. Imagine a world where blossoms take center stage, their vibrant colors and rich scents captivating your senses. These flowers often grow directly from the trunk of the tree, relying on its sturdy wood for support rather than delicate branches. This unique arrangement transforms the entire tree into a vertical garden, engaging with wildlife in fascinating ways. As you observe, you notice how some flowers have developed intricate relationships with specific pollinators. These plants depend on a single type of animal to complete their reproductive journey. Their blossoms evolve in shape, scent, and timing, perfectly aligning with the behavior and body structure of their chosen partner. This precision is so remarkable that other potential visitors struggle to pollinate them effectively. Consider how a flower's tube may be just the right length for one bird's beak or an insect's tongue. The placement of anthers may be meticulously designed to brush against a particular species, ensuring that the pollen transfer is both accurate and efficient. While this close partnership might seem risky, it guarantees a reliable transfer of pollen. In return, the pollinator enjoys a steady food source that remains largely unchallenged by competitors. As you reflect on this intricate dance of nature, you might feel a sense of wonder about the delicate balance that sustains life. Would you like to continue exploring this captivating relationship between flowers and their pollinators? Or perhaps take a moment to rest and appreciate the beauty around you? In the intricate dance of nature, plants and pollinators evolve together, forming a unique bond that connects two vastly different forms of life. Each depends on the other, creating a silent partnership that thrives over time. Some flowers possess the remarkable ability to sense humidity, adjusting their scent accordingly. When moisture fills the air, scent molecules travel more effectively than in dry conditions, and these flowers capitalize on this advantage. Specialized cells within their petals can detect even the slightest changes in humidity. As the air becomes damp, the flower releases more fragrance, enhancing its chances of attracting pollinators. Conversely, in dry conditions, they conserve energy by reducing their scent output. This adjustment is no mere coincidence. It aligns with the daily patterns of pollinators, who prefer specific weather conditions for their flights. By fine-tuning their aromas to match the atmosphere, these plants boost their likelihood of being discovered while minimizing resource waste. This fascinating ability to sense their surroundings demonstrates the deep connection blossoms share with the environment. They respond not only to light and temperature, but also to moisture, using it as a subtle guide for when to release their chemical signals into the air. Imagine a world where flowers imitate the glistening drops of dew to attract curious insects. Some blossoms are adorned with glossy bead-like structures that resemble fresh morning dew, For small insects on the hunt for water or shiny points of interest, these beads are simply irresistible. When they land to explore, they inadvertently brush against pollen or are drawn deeper into the flower by the elegant curves of its petals. This mimicry is strikingly effective. The beads catch the light just like real droplets do. Although they hold no water, they are crafted from smooth, reflective tissues or delicate layers of wax. By mimicking dew, the plant invites extra visitors, those that might not have approached otherwise. This clever strategy is particularly advantageous in dry environments where actual droplets are scarce. The flower creates a visual illusion that captures the attention of creatures reliant on shimmering cues to navigate their world. But that's not all. Some flowers have a unique way of communicating with bees. The air surrounding a bloom can carry a subtle electrical charge, and bees are finely tuned to detect these slight variations. As a bee draws near, the charge around its body interacts with the flower's electric field, enhancing the connection between them. Take a moment to reflect on this intricate dance of nature. Isn't it fascinating how such small details can have a profound impact on the relationships between plants and insects? Feel free to linger in this thought or continue exploring the wonders of the natural world. Some flowers uniquely design their surfaces and internal structures to create distinct electrical patterns. These patterns reveal whether a flower has recently been visited or if it still contains a rich supply of nectar. Bees quickly detect these signals, enabling them to select the most rewarding blossoms without expending unnecessary energy. When a bee lands, the contact alters the flower's electrical state for a brief moment, sharing essential information with the next visitor. This subtle exchange establishes a form of communication that transcends color or scent. It allows plants to convey vital details through invisible fields that only certain beings can interpret. A few flowers even shape their petals to function as natural sonic amplifiers. Some plants develop curved or bowl-shaped petals that enhance the sounds produced by nearby pollinators. These shapes serve as small echo chambers, amplifying specific frequencies in the air. As certain insects approach, the vibrations resonate within the blossom, making their presence more detectable. This amplification influences the plant's internal responses, prompting actions like increasing nectar production or preparing its reproductive structures for contact. Imagine a world where flowers communicate not just through color, but through sound. The unique shapes of these blossoms serve as natural instruments, reflecting sound in ways that help pollinators navigate their surroundings. Over time, these structures have evolved, shaped by the pressures of survival. They become listening and responding systems, finely tuned to the acoustic landscape around them. Some flowers have developed reflective petals that stand out even in low light, in shaded woodland edges, on deep forest floors, and during the fleeting moments of dawn and dusk. These blossoms have transformed their petals into natural reflectors. Rather than simply absorbing light, the surfaces of these petals are crafted from layers that scatter and bounce brightness back outward. Tiny folds, ridges, and air-filled spaces within the petal tissue work harmoniously, creating a field of mirrors that capture even the faintest rays filtering through the leaves. To the human eye, this may appear as a gentle glow, yet for insects with more sensitive vision, it becomes a striking signal against a dark backdrop. This effect is particularly pronounced in flowers with pale or metallic hues, where the reflected light is not overshadowed by heavy pigmentation. Isn't it fascinating how nature finds ways to communicate? As you explore this intricate world, consider how these subtle signals shape the relationships between plants and their pollinators. Would you like to dive deeper into this captivating journey, or perhaps take a moment to reflect? In the gentle embrace of low light, pollinators discover shining targets that beckon them, ensuring that these plants capture attention when others fade into the shadows. The reflective petals transform scarce light into a dependable call. In the high alpine meadows, certain mountain flowers develop hairy petals, serving as a natural insulation. Here, the air can shift from a tender caress to a biting chill in an instant. Flowers that choose to bloom in this unpredictable environment face the challenge of protecting their fragile tissues from freezing winds and harsh radiation. Some have found a clever solution. They cover their petals and outer floral parts with fine hairs that trap a delicate layer of still air. This layer acts like a tiny blanket, helping to retain warmth generated by the sun and the plant's own metabolism. Moreover, these hairs scatter intense ultraviolet light that streams through the clear mountain skies, shielding sensitive pigments and pollen from potential damage. When insects land on these blooms, they encounter a surface that feels slightly warmer than the surrounding air, encouraging them to linger and move more actively within the flower. Hairy petals are not merely a visual quirk, they play a vital role in the survival of these resilient blooms. You find yourself immersed in a world where flowers have evolved intricate systems of insulation, allowing them to thrive in climates that fluctuate between dazzling brilliance and biting frost. As you explore, you realize that some flowers produce nectar laden with complex chemical messages. Sweetness, it turns out, is just the beginning of what this liquid holds. Within the clear nectar, nestled at the base of certain blossoms, lies a unique blend of sugars, amino acids, ions, and specialized compounds. These elements work together, influencing the minds and bodies of visiting animals. Some molecules enhance memory, enabling bees to recall the scent and shape of specific flowers, prompting them to return frequently. Others modify the nectar's energy content or viscosity, shaping how quickly a pollinator feeds and how long it lingers. As you observe more closely, you notice that in certain species, the nectar's composition changes as the bloom matures. The early nectar might encourage exploration and learning, while the later nectar serves to calm visitors once sufficient pollen has been collected. Even the microbes residing in the nectar can shift its chemistry, adding another layer of signals. Though pollinators may not consciously interpret these messages, their behavior adapts in predictable ways. The plants harness the power of chemistry to guide their partners, encouraging movements that enhance successful reproduction. As you reflect on this delicate balance, you can appreciate the intricate relationships that sustain life in this vibrant ecosystem. Imagine a world where flowers embark on remarkable journeys. Their seeds glide across water, transforming rivers, lakes, and coastal wetlands into highways for their future. These seeds possess buoyant structures like spongy tissues and air pockets, or thick protective coats that keep them afloat. As the fruits ripen and burst open, the seeds gently drop onto the water's surface, drifting with the currents and waves. Some find themselves carried downstream by gentle streams, while others are caught in tidal waters, swaying rhythmically until they settle in a cozy patch of mud or sand. Throughout this adventure, their protective layers guard the delicate embryos against salt, decay, and sudden temperature shifts. This unique method allows a single plant to scatter its descendants far and wide, reaching new islands, river bends, or distant shores, all without the aid of animals or wind. Each flower serves as a starting point for a quiet voyage, leading its seeds to landscapes far away. Remarkably, some flowers can even bloom beneath thick layers of snow. As winter loosens its grip, a few resilient species are already preparing to blossom, ready to embrace the warmth of spring. Beneath the snow, the underground bulbs, rhizomes, or storage roots lie in wait, holding on to energy reserves through the long, cold months. As soon as the soil warms even slightly, growth begins. These resilient plants push upward, sometimes breaking through, while the surface remains cloaked in ice. The tip of the emerging shoot generates enough warmth through its active metabolism to carve a narrow tunnel as it rises. When the bud finally reaches the open air, it may still find itself surrounded by a blanket of white and the chill of the wind. Yet it blooms regardless. These early flowers seize the opportunity presented by the light that hasn't yet been obscured by leaves and by pollinators that have few other food sources. Their snow-resistant petals are often thick and waxy, shielding their reproductive parts from freezing droplets. This entire strategy is a race to embrace the first workable days of the year. Some flowers even create gentle microclimates within their blossoms. If you could step inside the curved chamber of certain blooms, you would notice a distinct difference in the air compared to the world outside. Petals shaped like cups, funnels, or overlapping roofs form pockets where the wind slows and humidity rises. Sunlight enters, warming the space within. This gentle warmth is embraced by the structure surrounding it. Inside this sheltered environment, temperatures fluctuate less sharply. This stability keeps pollen grains moist and stigmas ready for pollination. For insects, these microclimates offer a calm refuge, a place where conditions are milder than the outside world. On chilly mornings, a bee finds it easier to warm up by spending time inside. During hot, dry afternoons, the cooler, more humid air provides relief from stress. Plants that develop this internal architecture often enjoy more consistent pollination, as visitors tend to linger longer and explore the reproductive parts more thoroughly. The flower transforms into a tiny room, with climate controls perfectly tuned to its needs. Some flowers thrive only on slopes that face specific directions. In a hilly landscape, the conditions on a north-facing slope can be dramatically different from those on a south-facing one, even over short distances. Sunlight strikes at varying angles, evaporation rates shift, and soil temperatures fluctuate based on exposure. Certain flowering species adapt so closely to these conditions that they flourish exclusively on slopes facing a particular direction. As you reflect on these intricate relationships, consider how nature crafts these unique environments to ensure survival and continuity. Would you like to explore more about the fascinating world of plants and their adaptations? Seeds thrive when winter snow melts at just the right pace, or when spring sunshine arrives with a specific intensity. Roots rely on a delicate balance of moisture, not too dry and not too saturated. This balance is shaped by the daily journey of light across the hillside. As a result, you may notice populations of flowers forming narrow bands along the slopes, tracing invisible lines of temperature, light, and water. To an observer walking through this landscape, it can seem almost mysterious that the same flower disappears as soon as the hill shifts. But this phenomenon reveals a precise tuning to their environment. Certain flowers time their blooming to sidestep competition. In ecosystems alive with activity, many species share the same pollinators. Rather than competing with brighter colors or larger displays, some plants adopt a subtler strategy by adjusting their flowering schedules. They may open their buds earlier in the season, later, or during specific windows when other blooms are few. This careful timing reduces the visual clutter for pollinators, increasing the chances that these visitors will be drawn to their blossoms. Embrace the wonder of nature's intricate timing and the delicate dance of life that surrounds you. The internal mechanisms that dictate this schedule rely on cues such as day length, accumulated warmth, and rainfall patterns. When conditions align with the plant's inherent timing rules, entire populations can bloom simultaneously, creating a fleeting moment of beauty. Once pollination occurs, the flowers begin to fade, making way for others to take their turn. This staggered blooming allows various plants to share the same pollinators without competing directly, each stepping into the spotlight in its own time. Some flowers safeguard their nectar within narrow tubes. Instead of placing rewards in plain sight, certain plants conceal their nectar deep within elongated floral structures. Only those animals equipped with the right anatomical features can access these hidden treasures. Long-tongued bees, hawk moths with extended feeding organs, and birds with slender beaks can delve into the depths, while less specialized visitors are left out. This design effectively filters out inefficient guests who might sip a little nectar and leave without aiding in pollination. When a suitable pollinator does manage to reach in, its head or face inevitably brushes against the ring of anthers and the receptive stigma surrounding the tube's entrance. Pollen gently settles on the parts of the flower that will soon touch the next bloom of its kind. Through a delicate balance of hidden nectar and precise geometry, the plant ensures reliable pollen transfer while safeguarding its precious resources from opportunistic visitors. The depth of the flower's tube acts as a gatekeeper, shaping the entire partnership of pollination. Some flowers exhibit colors that shift in response to the chemistry of the soil. In certain species, petal color is not a constant trait. Instead, it reflects the environment in which they thrive. The pigment molecules within the petals alter their structure based on the balance of acidity and alkalinity in the soil solution that nourishes the plant. As roots absorb water enriched with specific ions, the internal environment of the petal cells transforms, allowing the same pigment to manifest as a soft pink, a deep violet, or a clear blue. Gardeners may observe that similar shrubs display different hues in various beds, or that colors subtly change as soil conditions evolve. In the wild, this adaptability can attract different pollinators or affect how blooms blend into or stand out from their surroundings. This remarkable responsiveness may also enable the plant to adjust to slight fluctuations in mineral availability. Imagine each flower as a small, vibrant indicator of the hidden chemistry that lies beneath. These delicate blooms translate invisible conditions into visible shades, showcasing nature's resilience. In certain volcanic landscapes, some remarkable flowers take root in the aftermath of eruptions and fresh lava flows. They thrive in an environment that initially seems inhospitable, where the ground is a harsh blend of ash, pumice, and fractured rock, holding very little water. Yet these flowers manage to survive by anchoring their roots into the tiniest crevices, where moisture and minerals gather after rare rainfalls. As the ash breaks down, it releases nutrients slowly, creating fertile pockets that these plants can access before any competitors arrive. The blossoms emerge swiftly during brief windows of favorable weather, allowing these resilient flowers to complete their entire reproductive cycle amidst rapidly changing conditions of intense heat and sudden chill. Their roots play a crucial role, stabilizing loose volcanic debris and gradually transforming barren fields into surfaces that can support future species. These flowers are often the first signs of life following destructive events. Their presence serves as a powerful reminder that even in newly formed landscapes, flowers find ways to adapt, endure, and rebuild the foundations of ecosystems. As you reflect on this, consider how nature's resilience mirrors our own capacity for renewal. Certain flowers have a fascinating way of attracting pollinators by emitting infrared heat signatures. Instead of relying solely on vibrant colors, some blossoms communicate warmth. Their petals and central structures generate subtle heat patterns that stand out to insects capable of sensing temperature variations. These warm zones serve as guides, leading pollinators to nectar and pollen, even in low light conditions. The heat produced comes from concentrated metabolic activity within the flower's tissues, functioning like tiny furnaces. During times of peak pollinator activity, the flower boosts this thermal output, creating a stronger signal. When fewer visitors are present, the warmth diminishes to conserve energy. For many insects, temperature cues are easier to detect than color changes, particularly in dense or shadowy environments. Additionally, the thermal patterns help certain pollinators warm their flight muscles before they take off again. By providing both guidance and comfort, the flower increases the chances that each visitor will linger long enough to transfer pollen. This remarkable technique illustrates how blossoms can use invisible forms of communication to engage with the living world around them. Some flowers contain tiny mirrors hidden within their petals. These unique structures, found in only a few species, are arranged in layers that redirect incoming light. As light bounces around, it intensifies, creating a shimmering effect that is particularly noticeable to insects with keen eyesight. These reflective layers can enhance a single color, channeling it through membranes that amplify its brilliance, or they might create subtle iridescent flashes that shift depending on the viewing angle. Remarkably, these mirrors form from carefully arranged clear cells in air, a product of natural growth rather than external forces. In addition to luring in pollinators, these reflections serve another purpose. They protect the delicate inner tissues of the flower by deflecting excessive sunlight. This clever optical adaptation gives flowers a competitive edge in environments where many blossoms vie for attention. Each petal acts as both a signal and a shield, illustrating how flowers manipulate light at a microscopic level to enhance their chances of survival and reproduction. Some flowers even feature surfaces reminiscent of Velcro, designed to securely hold on to pollinators. Some flowers have developed unique surfaces, adorned with tiny hooks or barbs that gently attach themselves to visiting insects. These specialized structures hold the insect in place just long enough to ensure that pollen is either picked up or deposited precisely where it needs to be. The hooks are flexible, allowing the insect to move without harm, yet they are firm enough to slow its progress and guide it towards specific parts of the bloom. As the insect explores these textured surfaces, it encounters anthers and stigmas strategically arranged to maximize contact. This design helps deter nectar thieves who might otherwise dart in and out without aiding in pollination, while encouraging genuine visitors to engage more fully with the flower. Once the pollinator has fulfilled its role, it can easily free itself from the flower's embrace. These surfaces demonstrate how texture can influence behavior, creating a harmonious exchange between animal and plant without the need for traps or force. In some ecosystems that depend on fire, certain flowers actually thrive after flames have swept through. While the visible parts of the plant may be consumed by the fire, protected structures lie hidden underground, shielded from the full intensity of the heat. As you reflect on these remarkable adaptations, consider the delicate balance of nature and how each element plays a vital role in the web of life. Would you like to continue exploring, or perhaps take a moment to pause? After a fire sweeps through, the landscape transforms, becoming bright and open. The nutrients released from burned vegetation enrich the soil, creating conditions that awaken buried tissues beneath the surface. Shoots burst forth quickly, drawing from the reserves saved during the previous growing season. Many seeds require exposure to the chemicals released by smoke to break their dormancy, ensuring that germination occurs only after fire has cleared away competing plants. As new flowers bloom, often in large clusters, they attract pollinators seeking nourishment in this newly exposed environment. This cycle is more than mere survival. It is a strategic dance with fire, a catalyst for renewal that allows these plants to seize the landscape at the most opportune moment. Certain flowers have evolved to manipulate airflow, efficiently spreading their scent. Those that rely on fragrance often possess clever structural designs that guide air currents. Some petals form channels that draw breezes through the flower, allowing scent molecules to disperse over greater distances with minimal effort. Others create vortices that lift their aroma into the air layers, where flying insects travel. Isn't it fascinating how nature adapts and thrives in the wake of destruction? Feel free to take a moment to reflect on this remarkable cycle, or if you wish, continue exploring this captivating world. Imagine how even slight curves or ridges can alter the path of the wind as it moves across a bloom, shaping the way scents are distributed with remarkable precision. These patterns of airflow allow flowers to use less fragrance to attract pollinators, conserving energy in the process. Pollinators, in turn, benefit from clear odor trails that lead them directly to the source of nourishment. By manipulating their features in such subtle ways, flowers extend their influence far beyond what a simple release of scent could achieve. Think of the bloom as a small architectural marvel, designed to communicate with the very atmosphere around it. Some flowers even possess natural sunscreens to shield their pollen from the sun's harsh rays. While bright sunlight fosters growth, it can also be detrimental to the delicate grains that carry a plant's genetic material. To combat this, certain flowers generate protective molecules that absorb harmful ultraviolet light before it reaches their precious pollen. These compounds nestle into the outer layers of petals and anthers, forming a protective barrier that holds strong even during long hours of exposure. Interestingly, many of these protective pigments also play a role in the flower's visible color, contributing to stunning shades of deep blue, rich purple, or warm red. As sunlight intensifies, the flower may ramp up production of these molecules, fortifying its defenses during the hottest parts of the day. You might find yourself drawn into this intricate dance of nature, where every detail serves a purpose. Perhaps you'll take a moment to appreciate the beauty and complexity surrounding you. As you observe the world of plants, consider how they safeguard their pollen from the harsh effects of ultraviolet light. This protection ensures that their grains remain viable as they are carried to the next bloom. This remarkable defense system illustrates the delicate balance flowers strike between beauty and function, transforming vibrant colors into a protective line for their most fragile structures. Imagine flowers that thrive on bare rocks, where soil is almost non-existent. Certain species manage to flourish in these challenging environments, clinging to steep cliffs and stone walls that many other plants would find inhospitable. Their roots diligently search for tiny pockets of dust and mineral fragments trapped in the cracks of the stone. Over time, as the roots grow, they gradually widen these spaces, creating a more stable foothold. Nutrients are limited in these harsh conditions, leading these resilient plants to grow slowly and allocate their resources with care. Their leaves may take on unique characteristics, thick, waxy, or even reduced in size, all designed to conserve precious water. Despite these challenges, they bloom beautifully, attracting pollinators that venture along rocky faces or windy ridges. These flowers often take advantage of brief moments when moisture is available, seizing every rare opportunity to flourish. Their persistence transforms barren stone into a vibrant living habitat, showcasing the wonders of nature's resilience. Would you like to explore more about how these plants thrive against the odds? Imagine a world where plants thrive in extreme conditions. These remarkable cliff-dwelling flowers showcase just how little they require to survive when perfectly adapted. While many blossoms rely on their scent to lure in pollinators, others cleverly conceal their fragrance to avoid unwanted attention from potential threats. Some flowers emit their scent selectively, directing it only towards specific areas or within the protective confines of their petals. A pollinator entering this sheltered space can easily catch a whiff of the enticing aroma, while any lurking predators remain oblivious. Others have developed a unique scent chemistry, keeping their nectar's fragrance hidden until a trusted visitor draws near. There are also flowers that choose to release their fragrance only during brief moments when certain dangers are absent. These intricate strategies empower the plants to communicate in a focused manner, ensuring their signals reach those who will assist rather than harm them. Scent transforms into a carefully controlled resource, meticulously balanced between attraction and protection. Some flowers even manipulate their petal temperature to beckon insects. The warmth they generate can be an irresistible invitation, with certain blossoms warming themselves beyond the surrounding air. In this delicate dance of survival, every detail matters. So as you explore this fascinating world, consider how nature's strategies unfold around you. Would you like to dive deeper into this captivating journey, or perhaps take a moment to reflect? Petals capture sunlight with remarkable efficiency, channeling metabolic activity into specific tissues that emit a gentle warmth. This warmth acts as a beacon for insects, particularly in cooler climates or during the early morning hours, offering them a vital boost in body temperature. When a pollinator lands on such a bloom, it tends to linger longer than it would in a colder environment, thoroughly exploring the flower's structure and engaging with the pollen in more effective ways. The warmth of the petals also facilitates the rise of volatile scent molecules into the air, extending the reach at which the flower can be detected. By providing this thermal comfort, these flowers significantly enhance their chances of being revisited. Their temperature-based strategy intertwines energy management, attraction, and timing, creating a subtle yet powerful advantage. Some flowers even possess built-in lenses that focus light. Certain blossoms feature petal tissues arranged in smooth curves that shape and redirect sunlight the moment it touches their surface. This natural lensing effect concentrates brightness toward the hidden reproductive structures at the center of the bloom. In doing so, the flower ensures that pollen remains warmer and more active during cool mornings or overcast periods, when lower temperatures typically hinder its effectiveness. Plant cells create a fascinating effect by forming layers with varying densities. This structure causes light to bend gently as it passes through. The resulting glow can manifest as a subtle shimmer, capturing the attention of insects drawn to bright contrasts. For some pollinators, these differences in light intensity become essential signals, serving a practical purpose beyond mere aesthetics. This focused reflection allows plants to attract visitors without expending significant energy on pigment production. It also offers an advantage in shaded environments where light is often scattered and weak. Through simple growth and precise cellular architecture, flowers develop a small optical device that enhances almost every aspect of their reproductive strategy. Interestingly, some flowers thrive in complete darkness within caves. Deep inside these caverns where daylight never penetrates and photosynthesis is impossible, a few rare flowering plants manage to survive by forming unique partnerships. Instead of depending on sunlight, these species acquire nourishment from underground fungi that decompose organic matter brought into the cave by dripping water or wandering animals. Isn't it remarkable how life adapts to even the most challenging environments? As you ponder this, consider how nature's ingenuity shapes our world. Plants engage in a unique exchange. They trade their structural stability and safe habitat for a constant supply of minerals and carbon compounds that fungi extract from decaying debris. Without the need for green pigments, the flowers take on a pale, ghost-like, or even translucent appearance. Their petals are often thick, designed to endure the constant humidity of their environment. The scents they emit linger in the still air, guiding cave insects that rely on touch and smell rather than sight. These pollinators do not seek color. Instead, the plants invest in texture and fragrance, prioritizing these over visual appeal. Some blooms only emerge when temperature and moisture align perfectly, a delicate balance that might only last for a brief moment. These flowers demonstrate that darkness does not stifle the cycle of blooming. Rather, it fosters an environment where life adapts through unique partnerships and sensory strategies, quite different from those found outside the cave. Intriguingly, some flowers produce caffeinated nectar to enhance pollinator memory. A few blossoms contain natural stimulants, including mild caffeine, formed through distinctive biochemical processes within the plant. When certain insects consume this nectar, the caffeine sharpens their ability to remember specific scents, petal shapes, and the flight paths that lead them back to the bloom. You notice the delicate yet profound influence of nature. A pollinator, drawn to the unique memory of a specific flower, often returns. This ensures that the plant receives repeated visits, significantly boosting the chances of successful pollen transfer. The flower thrives by fostering loyalty without offering more nectar than usual. The stimulant enhances the insect's learning centers, making this bloom stand out amid countless others. Over time, a reliable pattern emerges as pollinators develop consistent routes back to the same species. This mechanism exemplifies the elegance of how plants can influence behavior solely through chemistry, shaping relationships that feel almost intentional. A few aquatic flowers create floating highways for beetles. Some water-dwelling plants produce blossoms that rest gently on the surface of ponds, marshes, or slow-moving streams. Their broad, sturdy petals form platforms, allowing beetles and other crawling insects to traverse the water without sinking. These floating pathways lead visitors to the flower's center, where enticing scents, inviting textures, and warmth beckon exploration. The design of each petal skillfully distributes weight across a broad area, enabling even the heaviest insects to tread without breaking the surface tension. Some flowers create gentle slopes that guide movement inward, while others offer glossy patches that reflect light, helping insects spot the bloom from afar. As beetles crawl across these vibrant surfaces, they often become dusted with pollen. Their tendency to wander from one floating flower to another significantly boosts the chances of successful pollination. This collaboration between plants and insects transforms the very water they inhabit into an integral part of their strategy. Each blossom serves not only as a food source, but also as a bridge that sustains life above a liquid realm. Some flowers even tap into fungal networks to synchronize their blooming. In specific forests and grasslands, flowering plants connect through extensive underground webs formed by symbiotic fungi. These fungal strands transport nutrients, minerals, and chemical signals between roots. When one plant detects a shift in its environment, such as the arrival of beneficial moisture or the presence of certain microbes, it sends out signals into the network. Other plants of the same species pick up on these cues and adjust their internal rhythms, resulting in a synchronized wave of blooming. This intricate web of life invites you to reflect on the connections that sustain our world. You discover a fascinating world beneath the surface, where coordination among plants enhances the likelihood that pollinators will find multiple blossoms at once. This increase in encounters significantly boosts their reproductive success. Moreover, this intricate network helps plants conserve energy by preventing premature or poorly timed flowering. As fungal partners exchange nutrients, each plant fortifies the system by supporting its neighbors. The blooming event transforms into a collective decision, guided by shared information that flows silently through the soil. This cooperation reveals how flowers engage in an underground communication system, far more complex than what is visible above ground. Certain flowers form unique partnerships with birds, evolving structures that depend entirely on specific avian species for pollination. The lengths of their tubes align perfectly with the beaks of these birds, while their vibrant colors attract avian vision. The nectar is tailored to meet the high energy demands of rapid flight, providing a reliable food source that is difficult for competitors to access. This partnership is so refined that the plant may only bloom when migratory patterns bring its avian ally back to the area. Every detail matters. Feather placement, feeding posture, and wing movement all influence where pollen attaches during each visit. As you reflect on this delicate balance, consider how interconnected life truly is. Would you like to explore more about these fascinating relationships, or perhaps take a moment to rest and absorb this wonder? Imagine a bird serving as a living bridge, connecting blossoms scattered across a vibrant landscape. For the plant, this unique strategy reduces the need to attract multiple pollinators. For the bird, it creates a dependable path, offering nourishment during its long journeys. This relationship illustrates how two distinct forms of life can influence each other over countless generations, benefiting one another in profound ways. Some flowers employ delicate, sticky threads to capture airborne pollen, while many plants depend on insects or the wind. A few species have evolved to use these fine threads, produced within their blossoms, to ensnare pollen drifting through the air. These threads form a delicate mesh that coats the inner surfaces of the petals or hangs between structures that create narrow passageways. As air flows past the bloom, stray pollen grains from the same species become trapped. Once gathered, these grains are gradually moved by capillary forces or gentle movements of the petals toward the receptive stigma. This method allows the plant to collect pollen even in areas where pollinators are few or where winds are unpredictable. What's remarkable is that these sticky threads remain effective throughout the blooming period, resisting drying out and maintaining their consistent tackiness. Take a moment to reflect on this intricate dance of nature. Isn't it fascinating how life adapts and thrives together? You may find yourself drawn deeper into this world, contemplating the connections that exist all around you. Imagine a quiet strategy that blends the randomness of the wind with the precision of guided capture. Instead of waiting for a visitor, the flower crafts its own net to gather what the air brings. Some flowers bloom for just a fleeting hour. Certain species open their blossoms for an incredibly brief moment, sometimes less than the time it takes for a cloud to pass by. These flowers store energy, building internal pressure for hours or even days before they suddenly unfurl their petals. This short blooming period aligns with a specific moment in the daily rhythm of their environment. It might coincide with the activity of a solitary insect, a particular change in humidity, or a narrow burst of sunlight that illuminates a hidden spot. During that hour, the plant engages in all essential exchanges of pollen and nectar, trusting that its chosen partners will arrive right on time. Once the moment has passed, the blossom closes permanently, safeguarding its developing seeds from unnecessary harm. This intense strategy minimizes exposure to predators, harsh weather, and energy loss. The flower exists in full bloom for only the briefest glimpse, reminding us of the beauty found in fleeting moments. The future of the plant hinges on a carefully chosen moment. Some flowers subtly generate magnetic fields. A few species create faint magnetic signatures through the movement of charged particles within their cells. These fields are incredibly weak. However, certain insects have sensory organs that can detect even the slightest changes in magnetic direction and intensity. As a pollinator approaches, it senses the shift in the local magnetic pattern, using it to locate the most rewarding part of the bloom. This phenomenon is not intentional. It occurs naturally, stemming from the arrangement of ions, metabolic processes, and the flow of nutrients through the plant's tissues. Yet, the structure of the blossom can enhance or focus the magnetic field along specific pathways, creating a consistent signal. This field might also interact with incoming pollen grains or influence how particles settle within the flower. Though invisible to the human eye, this method adds another layer of subtle communication between plants and pollinators. It illustrates how even the smallest forces can play significant roles in nature's interactions. Additionally, certain flowers bloom in rhythms tied to lunar cycles, further deepening this intricate connection. Some plant species synchronize their flowering with the phases of the moon. Their internal clocks respond not only to the changing daylight, but also to variations in nighttime brightness and the moon's gravitational pull. When the moon reaches a certain point in its cycle, these plants trigger a series of biological events, leading to synchronized blooming across entire populations. As night falls, pollinators that travel after dark benefit from the increased light, allowing them to navigate between blossoms more effectively. This timing also minimizes competition with species that depend solely on sunlight cues. In coastal areas, the lunar rhythm may coincide with tidal patterns, which can influence moisture levels and temperature changes. By aligning their blooming with a cosmic cycle, these flowers introduce a sense of predictability in environments where conditions are always shifting. The connection between plant biology and the moon's steady movement highlights how deeply the rhythms of life intertwine with the natural world. Some flowers produce nectar that changes in flavor throughout the day. Within specific blossoms, nectar is not a constant substance. Its composition varies as the plant adjusts sugars, amino acids, and aromatic compounds in response to temperature, humidity, and the activity of visiting pollinators. This intricate dance between plants and their environment invites us to reflect on the wonders of nature. Would you like to learn more about these fascinating connections? Or perhaps take a moment to appreciate the beauty around you. As dawn breaks, the nectar in flowers often becomes richer in simple sugars. This sweetness offers a quick burst of energy to insects shaking off the cool morning air. As the sun climbs higher toward midday, the nectar thickens, becoming slightly more complex. This change creates a satisfying reward for experienced pollinators that skillfully navigate crowded environments. As evening approaches, flowers shift again, producing nectar that carries softer or more fragrant notes. This adaptation attracts late-night visitors, like crepuscular moths. These time changes are orchestrated by internal biochemical pathways that respond to light and nutrient availability. By continually adjusting the flavor and texture of their nectar, plants influence the behaviors of the creatures that visit them. This strategy ensures that each type of pollinator receives a reward tailored to its unique habits, while the flower benefits from consistent and effective pollination throughout the day. Some flowers even release their warm fragrances only at sunset. In certain environments, blossoms wait for daylight to fade before unveiling their most enticing scents. As the sun sets and the air cools, these plants begin to emit volatile molecules, sending their sweet aromas wafting gently into the evening air. The warmth of these fragrances emerges from delicate chemical reactions that require less energy during the evening. This results in a rich scent that spreads further through the calm twilight air compared to the heat of midday. The timing aligns perfectly with the foraging habits of nocturnal visitors, like moths and night-active beetles, who rely more on scent than sight. These pollinators journey long distances, guided by aromatic trails that drift across open landscapes. Flowers conserve energy by releasing their fragrance only when their preferred partners are active, avoiding unnecessary waste during daylight hours when scents evaporate quickly or attract unwanted attention. This rhythm establishes a predictable meeting point between plants and pollinators during the gentle transition from daylight to darkness. Some flowers even host tiny invertebrate communities within their blossoms. Inside the sheltered folds of certain flowers, miniature ecosystems thrive, composed of insects, mites, and other small creatures. These invertebrates find refuge within the petals, where humidity remains stable, predators are few, and food particles naturally accumulate. Imagine a microhabitat where pools of condensed moisture, traces of nectar, fallen pollen grains, and fragrant plant oils create a sanctuary for a vibrant community. Some flowers even generate a gentle warmth or maintain slightly elevated humidity, nurturing these tiny residents and allowing them to flourish. In this delicate ecosystem, the presence of invertebrates plays a vital role. Their movements stir pollen, clean surfaces, and engage in a natural competition that keeps harmful insects at bay. Over time, these communities establish predictable patterns. Certain species arrive first, preparing the environment by consuming debris. Others follow, feeding on the remnants or seeking refuge in the protective chambers formed by the flowers. Here, the flower transcends its role as merely a reproductive structure. It becomes a small dwelling that supports life beyond its own needs, showcasing the intricate interactions that can emerge even in temporary spaces. Some flowers develop chemical defenses that strengthen under the full sun. During the brightest hours of the day, these blooms activate enzymes that release compounds designed to deter herbivores and harmful microbes. Reflect on the beauty of these interactions, where life thrives in the most unexpected places. As you observe this intricate dance of nature, consider how even the simplest elements contribute to a larger story of survival and coexistence. You are invited to continue exploring or simply take a moment to rest in this wonder. Many of the chemicals in flowers are bitter or pungent, deterring animals that might bite into petals or sip nectar without aiding in pollination. Heat and ultraviolet radiation can trigger the production of protective pigments, which absorb harmful wavelengths. These pigments manifest as deeper reds, purples, or blues, shielding the delicate structures beneath the petal's surface. As evening approaches and the light softens, the plant reduces its defensive output to conserve energy. This ebb and flow of chemical strength follows a daily cycle governed by internal clocks that respond to changes in light intensity. By bolstering defenses when damage is most likely, the plant safeguards its fertility, ensuring that pollinators encounter blossoms in optimal condition. Interestingly, some flowers bloom underground, never seeing the light of day. A few rare species produce blossoms entirely beneath the soil, relying on roots and underground stems to navigate through warm, moist earth. Instead of attracting flying pollinators, these plants form symbiotic relationships with burrowing insects or small mammals that traverse the soil. Isn't it fascinating how nature adapts in such unique ways? You can continue to explore this intriguing world, or take a moment to reflect on these remarkable adaptations. The blossoms release strong scents that weave through tunnels and cracks, guiding visitors solely by smell. Protected from sunlight, their petals don't require vibrant colors or photosynthetic tissues. Instead, they tend to be pale, thick, and resilient, designed to endure the pressure of the surrounding earth. These flowers may open within small chambers formed by shifting roots or the movement of underground creatures. Pollination occurs quietly in the dark as visitors transport pollen from one hidden bloom to another. This strategy shields the plant from harsh weather and predators, enabling reproduction in environments where surface conditions can be unpredictable or hostile. Some flowers have adapted their petals to act like solar panels. In areas with intense sunlight, certain blossoms develop petal surfaces capable of capturing and storing light energy for brief periods. These petals contain specialized pigments and structures that absorb sunlight efficiently, converting a portion of it into warmth or enhancing metabolic functions. This slight increase in temperature inside the bloom helps pollen mature at a steadier rate, keeping visiting insects comfortable enough to linger longer. As you reflect on these remarkable adaptations, consider the intricate ways nature finds balance and resilience. Feel free to continue exploring or take a moment to rest. The energy captured by these flowers plays a crucial role in their ability to produce fragrance, even during cooler times. This process is similar to how natural solar collectors gather heat. While the petals themselves don't generate electricity, they effectively channel the absorbed sunlight to reproductive tissues that require stable environmental conditions. By transforming sunlight into a controlled resource, these flowers create a reliable microenvironment, protecting themselves from sudden changes like cloud cover or chilly winds. This adaptation shows that petals can function as vital organs rather than mere decorative elements. Some flowers depend entirely on the wind to disperse their pollen. They don't attract animals at all. Instead, they release vast amounts of lightweight pollen into the open air, allowing the wind to carry it across fields, valleys, and forests. The grains of pollen are designed for efficient travel, often featuring smooth surfaces and internal structures that help them stay airborne. These flowers typically lack bright colors or strong fragrances because they don't need to lure in visitors. Instead, they focus on producing large quantities of pollen, ensuring that some grains reach receptive structures on distant plants. Isn't it fascinating how nature adapts in such unique ways? As you reflect on this, consider how these flowers thrive in their environments. Would you like to continue exploring more about the wonders of nature, or perhaps take a moment to rest? The timing of a flower's release often aligns with dry conditions and steady breezes, allowing pollen to drift effortlessly through the air. This process is unpredictable, prompting plants to evolve strategies for success. They release more pollen than necessary, transforming the landscape into a silent cloud of potential. Certain flowers flourish symmetrically only under specific temperature conditions. Some species create perfectly balanced blossoms when the surrounding air remains within a narrow temperature range. If the environment is too cold or too warm, petals might develop uneven shapes or fail to align properly around the center. This symmetry relies on the precise rate at which cells divide and expand, a process highly sensitive to heat. Within the ideal temperature window, growth occurs evenly on each side of the flower, resulting in the familiar star-like or radial patterns commonly associated with many species. However, when temperatures stray from this range, the flower adapts by producing asymmetrical forms. While these adaptations may still function, they present a striking contrast to the ideal structure. Take a moment to reflect on the beauty of these transformations in nature. Pollinators tend to favor flowers with symmetrical shapes, as this encourages blooms to open at times when the environment is most conducive to growth. This relationship between floral form and temperature highlights the profound impact of climate on flower design. Some flowers have the remarkable ability to sense vibrations from nearby pollinators. They respond to the gentle tremors in the air created by the movements of insects. Their petals and internal structures function like finely tuned sensors, picking up vibrations that travel through the plant. When a flower detects the right pattern of movement, it can quickly make adjustments. This might include increasing the concentration of nectar or repositioning reproductive parts. Such changes enhance the flower's appeal and readiness for its visitors. The ability to detect these vibrations is made possible by plant cells, which are interconnected by flexible walls that efficiently transmit mechanical signals. Various species are attuned to different vibration signatures, allowing them to differentiate between beneficial pollinators and those that do not contribute to their reproductive success. This sensory capability enables flowers to conserve their resources, ensuring that they provide their best rewards only when the right partners are present. Imagine a world where flowers communicate through sound. These remarkable plants have evolved petals that resemble radar dishes, perfectly designed to synchronize the timing of pollen release with the exact moment of contact. This adaptation enhances the accuracy of pollination. Some species craft their petals in unique curves that gather and reflect sound waves. These shapes function like tiny listening bowls, amplifying the acoustic signals produced by flying insects. When specific pollinators approach, the dish-shaped petals focus sound towards sensitive tissues that register vibrations. This vital information guides the flower in deciding when to release its scent, adjust its internal temperature, or unveil fresh pollen. The curved surfaces of these petals also assist insects in locating the blooms by reflecting their own sounds back to them. This creates a fascinating sensory dialogue between plant and pollinator. The petals do not merely exist passively in their environment, they actively influence the sound waves traveling through the air. By evolving into efficient acoustic tools, these flowers reveal nature's remarkable ability to find similar solutions even among organisms that remain anchored in place. As you reflect on this connection, consider the intricate relationships that thrive in the natural world around you. Would you like to explore more about these amazing interactions? Some flowers develop soap-like compounds on their surfaces. A select group of these flowering plants generates natural foaming agents across their petals and leaves. These soap-like molecules emerge when the plant combines specific fatty acids with specialized sugars, breaking the surface tension of water. When rain or dew gathers, it picks up these compounds, forming small bubbles along the edges of the blossoms. These bubbles serve a purpose. They deter many insects that might nibble on the delicate petal tissue, since the slippery coating makes it difficult for them to grip and climb. Additionally, these compounds assist the plant in removing dust, pollen from other species, and fungal spores that settle in humid conditions. As gentle breezes pass through the flowers, the bubbles burst, releasing molecules that carry subtle scents or defensive signals into the air. This soapy coating also safeguards the petals from excessive moisture, preventing water from pooling in ways that could lead to rot. This remarkable adaptation illustrates how even the most fragile-looking blossoms can harness chemistry to maintain their surfaces, ensuring they stay clean, safe, and prepared for the delicate task of reproduction. Certain flowers even create nectar pools that resemble tiny lakes, inviting pollinators to partake in their beauty. In certain species, nectar is not just a few small drops. Instead, it fills large open pools within wide floral chambers. These pools can stretch across the entire blossom, creating shallow basins that shimmer in the light, almost as if they are reflecting the sky above. The depth and volume of this nectar draw in larger visitors, such as beetles, butterflies, and birds, who can glide across the surface without harming the delicate interior. This sweet liquid serves as both a reward and a habitat. Tiny organisms often thrive at the edges, feeding on the minerals and organic traces dissolved in the nectar. Some flowers cleverly use the reflective surface to enhance their visibility. Light bounces off the nectar, illuminating intricate petal patterns that guide pollinators right to the center. The plant invests significantly in creating these reservoirs, and in return, it attracts a diverse array of visitors that aid in pollen transfer. These nectar pools turn each flower into a miniature oasis, where various forms of life come together and interact. Meanwhile, some flowers take extra measures to protect their seeds, encasing them in powerful chemical barriers that shield them during their development. Compounds gather in the tissues surrounding the seed, forming a protective barrier that deters herbivores, fungi, and insects from invading. These chemicals may taste bitter, cause mild irritation, or inhibit bacterial growth. As the seed matures, the concentration of these compounds increases, transforming the protective tissue into a formidable shield. When the seed is ready for dispersal, the chemical makeup changes, making decay or digestion easier once it reaches the ideal environment. This strategy allows the plant to ensure its survival in two crucial stages. Initially, it repels threats during development. Later, it facilitates germination by allowing the protective layer to break down only under suitable conditions. This method enables the species to safeguard its future without the need for thick walls or hard shells. Chemistry serves as both the seed's first line of defense and its final key to safe emergence. Some flowers create intricate labyrinths for insects to explore. These blossoms design elaborate internal pathways that twist, rise, and curve, guiding the insect through a controlled journey. Instead of providing direct access to nectar, the flower constructs a chamber filled with small ridges, folds, or spiral passages. As a pollinator approaches, it follows a specific path, brushing against surfaces dusted with pollen. These surfaces are positioned at just the right angles. This maze-like structure ensures that the insect cannot rush through or access the reward without navigating the designated route. These carefully designed journeys also deter nectar thieves, those not agile enough to maneuver through the intricate setup. While the complexity of this labyrinth can differ among species, the underlying goal remains consistent. The plant carefully regulates how each visitor interacts with its reproductive components. These elaborate floral designs illustrate how structure alone can turn a simple visit into a successful pollination event. In some cases, flowers provide shelter for cold pollinators overnight. In cooler climates, certain blossoms become cozy resting spots for insects that struggle to maintain warmth after the sun sets. Their petals create soft, insulating chambers that trap heat absorbed during the day. Within these sheltered spaces, the temperature remains warmer than the surrounding air, allowing pollinators like small bees and beetles to endure the chilly night. The flower benefits as well. When the insect awakens in the morning, it often feeds on the nectar right away, brushing against fresh pollen and transporting it to nearby blooms. This beautiful interaction showcases the delicate balance of nature, where each participant plays a vital role in the cycle of life. Would you like to explore more about these fascinating connections? Some flowers gracefully close at night, forming a protective barrier that shields their guests from the chill of wind and frost. This quiet act of hospitality deepens the bond between the plant and its pollinator, ensuring mutual benefits from their connection. The blossom transforms into more than just a food source. It becomes a sanctuary, offering comfort and safety within its delicate walls. Certain flowers even create petal structures that resemble ladders. Some species design their petals with stepped ridges or tiny protrusions resembling miniature ladders. These clever formations assist insects in reaching the nectar, especially in plants with deep floral chambers. Without these ladder-like supports, many pollinators might struggle on smooth surfaces, unable to access the inner regions of the flower. These ridges also help visiting insects position themselves just right, aligning perfectly with the anthers and stigmas. As the insect climbs up or down the petal steps, pollen transfers occur with remarkable precision. This thoughtful design accommodates creatures of various body sizes and leg shapes, making the bloom accessible to a diverse range of pollinators. The plant thrives by enhancing the number of successful visits while minimizing potential damage from insects that might crawl upward. These textured petals illustrate how a simple structural adjustment can transform a blossom into a welcoming environment for visitors. Some flowers release their fragrance in sync with the peak activity of their pollinators. Various flowering species emit scents according to precise schedules linked to the behaviors of their preferred pollinators. Internal biological clocks regulate when scent molecules are created and how swiftly they disperse into the air. If a pollinator becomes active at dawn, the flower boosts its fragrance just before the first light breaks. Conversely, if the pollinator appears at midday, the bloom conserves its energy until the sun reaches its peak. These rhythms rely on finely tuned chemical pathways that react to cycles of light and temperature. This timing also helps prevent waste, as producing scent continuously would deplete valuable resources. By harmonizing fragrance with the routines of pollinators, the plant guarantees that each scent plume reaches its intended audience while steering clear of creatures that might pose a threat. Imagine a world where flowers communicate with precision, transforming scent into a delicate language. They turn their blossoms to greet approaching bees, a silent dance orchestrated by the gentle passage of time. Some flowers even shift their orientation ever so slightly, responding to the vibrations created by nearby bees. This remarkable movement occurs as they adjust internal water pressure within specialized cells, allowing the petals to either stiffen or relax. Though subtle, This adjustment places the blossom in the perfect position for a smooth landing. By turning toward their visitors, these flowers enhance the likelihood that pollen-laden parts of the bee will make direct contact with their reproductive structures. This simple act also minimizes the risk of a clumsy collision that might send the bee retreating without doing its vital work. The response is swift, triggered only by the specific vibration signature of their main pollinator. Other environmental sounds don't elicit the same reaction, showcasing an extraordinary form of sensitivity. These blossoms can even detect the presence of nectar thieves before they arrive, demonstrating a remarkable awareness of their surroundings. Isn't it fascinating to consider how such intricate interactions unfold in nature? You're invited to reflect on this harmony and perhaps carry this sense of wonder with you as you continue your journey. Some species have the remarkable ability to detect when an animal attempts to take nectar without contributing to pollination. These intruders may pierce the side of a flower or slip into the chamber without making contact with the pollen-producing structures. In response, the plant adapts by reducing its nectar production or thickening the fluid, making it more challenging to steal. Some blossoms even close slightly around their openings, compelling the intruder to work harder or abandon their attempt altogether. These responses are made possible by mechanical sensors embedded within the floral tissue. When the pressure or movement patterns differ from those of genuine pollinators, the flower activates its defenses. By discouraging nectar theft, the plant safeguards its valuable resources for those partners that truly assist in its reproductive success. This awareness illustrates that flowers can distinguish between helpful visitors and those that are not, using simple yet effective sensitivity. There are also flowers that thrive exclusively on hidden cliffs or within specific canyons. Certain species are confined to extraordinarily limited habitats, growing only on a single cliff face, canyon wall, or isolated rock shelf that meets their precise needs. These unique locations provide specific conditions, such as mineral-rich water seeping through limestone, a narrow band of temperature stability, or wind patterns that protect delicate stems from damage. As you reflect on the fascinating world of these plants, consider how their adaptations reveal the intricate relationships within nature. Would you like to explore more about these remarkable interactions, or perhaps take a moment to rest? In hidden corners of the world, flowers emerge, showcasing features that are distinct from those found in nearby areas. Their roots delve into cracks formed over generations, while their seeds scatter only short distances. The surrounding terrain offers little support for growth, making these species elusive and often unknown to science for extended periods. Their survival hinges entirely on the stability of the unique environments they inhabit. These delicate blossoms reveal the remarkable adaptability of plants, creating fragile communities that cling to the quiet edges of existence. Some flowers utilize micro-vibrations to release their pollen. In fact, certain blossoms are finely tuned to specific vibrations generated by the movements of visiting insects. Their anthers encase pollen grains in narrow chambers that do not open on their own. Instead, they wait for a precise frequency of vibration triggered by the wing beats or body movements of pollinators. When a pollinator lands and begins to buzz, that vibration resonates through the flower's structure. This gentle shaking loosens the pollen grains, releasing them in a controlled burst, and coats the visitor with remarkable precision. As you reflect on this intricate dance of nature, consider the delicate balance that sustains these hidden ecosystems. You might find a sense of wonder in the interconnectedness of life, urging you to pause and appreciate the beauty around you. This fascinating process prevents the random loss of pollen due to wind or rain, ensuring that pollen grains fall precisely onto the parts of flowers that are most likely to touch another bloom. Different species respond to specific frequencies, meaning only certain insects can trigger the release of pollen. This system operates like a living lock and key, aligning the needs of the flower with the capabilities of its pollinators. The precision of this method allows plants to conserve energy, producing only the amount of pollen that will be effectively utilized. Microvibration pollination represents one of the most delicate forms of communication between plants and animals, relying entirely on gentle sounds and subtle movements. Some flowers develop nectaries with multiple chambers. Inside these blossoms, you may find interconnected pockets that store various concentrations or types of liquid. These chambers work in harmony to create a complex structure, guiding visitors through the bloom. As a pollinator inserts its feeding organ, it must navigate a sequence of chambers, each offering a slightly different taste or texture. This pathway naturally positions the insect for optimal contact with the pollen-producing surfaces. Isn't it remarkable how nature orchestrates such intricate interactions? Take a moment to reflect on this delicate balance and consider the wonders happening all around you. The design of these flowers is truly fascinating. It slows down the feeding process, ensuring that visitors don't drain the nectar too quickly. Different chambers refill at varying rates, allowing the flower to manage its resources while still offering a rewarding experience. This clever architecture may even determine which species can reach the inner compartments, ensuring that only the most effective pollinators complete their journey. This multi-chamber system illustrates how flowers utilize their internal spatial design to influence behavior. Each turn within the bloom guides visitors in a way that supports the plant's reproductive success. Some flowers feature vibrant metallic pigments that are only visible upon closer inspection. A few species even develop pigments that create shimmering colors, shifting with the angle of light. These effects mimic the appearance of metal or polished minerals. To the human eye, these blooms might appear ordinary from afar, but up close, the petals reveal intricate optical patterns that instantly capture attention. Pollinators approaching nearby perceive these metallic flashes as strong visual cues. The pigments are crafted from layers of cells that selectively reflect light, producing tones that transition from gold to copper to blue as the insect circles the blossom. Isn't it remarkable how nature's design can be both intricate and purposeful? You may find yourself drawn to explore these wonders further, uncovering the hidden beauty in every delicate detail. These shimmering patterns you see may signal the availability of nectar or indicate that a flower is fresh and ready for pollination. This effect is visible only up close, encouraging insects to approach rather than hover uncertainly. This adaptation allows the plant to reserve its strongest signaling tools for those final moments before contact, guiding pollinators with precision while conserving energy on long-distance displays. Some flowers even host microbial allies within their petals. Inside the hidden tissues of certain blossoms live these microbial partners, performing vital tasks for the plant. These microbes may consume harmful pathogens, stabilize nectar chemistry, or produce subtle scents that attract pollinators. This relationship is formed through mutual benefit. The microbes receive a protected habitat rich in nutrients, while the plant gains services that enhance its reproductive success. Certain species even adjust nectar acidity to support specific microbial communities that produce beneficial compounds. Others create tiny pockets within their petals where these microorganisms can thrive, shielded from rain and disturbance. As you reflect on these intricate relationships, consider the beauty of nature's design and how every element plays a role. You might find it inspiring to continue exploring, or simply take a moment to rest in this wonder. Imagine a world where flowers are not just beautiful, but also intricate partners in nature's dance. The presence of various allies can shape the taste and texture of nectar, crafting unique profiles that certain pollinators come to favor. These partnerships unveil a remarkable layer of cooperation within each bloom. The flower transforms into a living home, nurturing multiple organisms and forming quiet alliances that enhance its chances of survival and reproduction. Some flowers bloom in colors that remain invisible to the human eye. These blossoms exhibit hues beyond our visual range, revealing vibrant patterns in ultraviolet light that insects can perceive clearly. To a bee, the petals might radiate with bright patterns, stripes, or halos, guiding it toward the precious nectar and pollen. Yet to you, the same flower may seem pale or ordinary. The pigments responsible for these hidden colors emerge when the plant produces specific compounds designed to reflect ultraviolet wavelengths. These compounds also serve a dual purpose, shielding the flower from harsh sunlight by absorbing damaging rays. Ultraviolet patterns assist pollinators in distinguishing between fresh and depleted blooms, as these markings often fade with age. This visual language, while beyond our perception, plays a crucial role in the ongoing interactions between flowers and insects. Take a moment to reflect on this hidden world, where colors and patterns work together to create a symphony of life. Would you like to continue exploring this fascinating relationship? Or perhaps take a moment to pause and appreciate the beauty around you? The world of color expands beautifully when you consider it through eyes that perceive wavelengths beyond your own detection. Certain flowers possess the remarkable ability to produce nectar that emits a faint glow in the dark. In various regions, nighttime pollinators find their way using scent and the subtle reflections of moonlight. Some flowers enhance this process by creating nectar that shines with a gentle bioluminescent light. This glow is a result of chemical reactions that release light as molecules break down within the nectar. The illumination is soft, often visible only in very low light conditions, yet it provides just enough brightness to attract moths and other nocturnal insects. The glowing nectar pools in shallow areas or along narrow channels, guiding visitors deep into the heart of the bloom. These plants use their luminous signals sparingly, as producing bioluminescent compounds requires energy. Consequently, this enchanting display appears only during peak pollinator activity, transforming the darkness into a quiet, shimmering world. Each bloom becomes a guiding lamp for the creatures that rely on it. Additionally, some flowers employ scent decoys that mimic insect pheromones, further enhancing their allure. Isn't it fascinating how nature finds ways to communicate and attract, even in the darkest hours? Some blossoms emit chemical signals that mimic the pheromones insects use to communicate. These signals may evoke the scent of a mate, a nesting site, or a fresh food source. When an insect approaches, expecting something familiar, it encounters the bloom instead. As it investigates, the insect brushes against pollen-producing structures, transferring grains to its body. The plant achieves pollination without offering nectar or any other reward. This decoy tactic does not last long because insects learn quickly to disregard false signals. However, it proves effective during the brief blooming periods of these species. The scent molecules are created with remarkable precision, matching not only the general aroma, but also the intricate blends that insects use to find partners. This method allows the plant to communicate in a language another species already understands, cleverly bending that language to fulfill its own needs. In some ecosystems, flowers share pollinators through intricate negotiation tactics. Multiple flowering species may depend on the same pollinators, yet instead of competing blindly, they develop strategies to share these visitors in a coordinated manner. Imagine a garden where one plant awakens with the dawn, another flourishes at noon, and yet another thrives in the late afternoon. The vibrant colors of these blooms stand in contrast, allowing pollinators to navigate their surroundings effortlessly. Some species even adjust the volume of their nectar based on the frequency of visits from pollinators. If one flower starts to attract more attention, another might enhance its scent to draw the pollinators back. This delicate dance creates a dynamic balance within the ecosystem. No single plant takes precedence, ensuring that pollinators have a continuous supply of resources. This quiet negotiation unfolds naturally, shaped by the principles of evolution, fostering traits that support coexistence among species. The result is an intricate web of interactions, where each species finds stability by acknowledging the presence of others. Certain flowers even influence the air currents around them to disperse their pollen more effectively. The design of these blossoms is intentional, sculpting the surrounding air movement. Their petals create channels that guide the breeze over the anthers, lifting pollen into the rising currents. Some petals curve gracefully, funneling air upwards and allowing pollen to soar to greater heights, where the winds are stronger and more reliable. As you reflect on this intricate balance, consider how nature's subtle strategies ensure harmony and resilience in the garden. Would you like to explore more about these fascinating interactions, or perhaps take a moment to appreciate the beauty around you? The bloom transforms into a small aerodynamic structure, skillfully harnessing the motion of the atmosphere. This clever strategy aids plants with fewer pollinators, or those situated in open habitats where wind serves as a dependable ally. By guiding airflow, these species cleverly prevent their precious pollen from being trapped or damaged by surfaces. Instead of merely relying on the wind, they shape it, extending the distance their pollen can travel. Air becomes a carefully managed resource rather than a mere random force. In extreme heat, certain flowers develop waxy coatings to protect themselves. In scorching environments where intense sunlight and high temperatures threaten their delicate tissues, some flowers form thick, waxy layers across their petals. These coatings reflect a portion of incoming sunlight and significantly reduce water loss through evaporation. The wax creates a smooth barrier, preventing heat from penetrating too deeply into the flower. Some even sport a faint reflective sheen, cooling the bloom by bouncing light away. During the hottest hours of the day, this protective barrier keeps pollen viable and safeguards the nectar from drying out. Isn't it fascinating how nature adapts to thrive? As you reflect on these remarkable strategies, consider how they might inspire your own resilience. As you observe the natural world, you notice how the coating on certain flowers softens slightly in cooler temperatures. This unique adaptation allows the petals to open fully when conditions are just right, enabling the plant to flourish in areas where intense heat might otherwise harm its reproductive structures. Here, you see the resilience of blossoms shaped by environments that challenge every delicate surface. Some flowers exhibit a remarkable beauty, displaying spiral petal patterns crafted with mathematical precision. In specific species, the petals grow according to strict numerical relationships, forming spirals that mirror the patterns found in seashells, hurricanes, and even galaxies. These flowers depend on growth zones located at the heart of the bud. As each petal unfolds, it emerges at a precise angle, maintaining this repetition throughout the bloom. This creates spirals that adhere to mathematical ratios prevalent in living systems. This spiral arrangement serves multiple purposes. It helps the flower distribute sunlight evenly across its surface, minimizing overlap that could obstruct vital tissues. Additionally, the design influences how pollinators interact with the bloom. As they navigate the natural curves of the petals, their